Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium on the 16th of June 2021. I'm in Skåne in Denmark at my parents-in-law's summer house, and it's absolutely beautiful here. It's absolutely beautiful. We're 2 minutes walk from the sea, and so we're doing these amazing walks along the beach a couple times a day, and the water it's surprisingly warm. It's probably maybe 17 degrees Celsius, I think. I like really cold water, and so I think I'm going to go to the slightly deeper water by the harbor and get in later today. We got our toes wet yesterday, which was very nice. It's absolutely beautiful here, and it's just beautiful kind of wandering around the countryside here in the blue yet cloudy sky. It's absolutely beautiful. So really enjoying our time here before we return to Asia. But today I'm just gonna go over like a couple of pairs using our software, and just talk maybe a little bit kind of loosely about the theory, and yeah, just kind of walk through a few different scenarios, maybe look at a couple of trades that we've done, and see where that leads us. Okay, so let's just slowly, I'm just going to slowly walk through what we like my method during the morning. I normally spend about maybe 20 or 30 minutes a day running through pairs, and I don't use much more time on it, and so I'm normally putting in my pending orders, and some of them will expire, and so I'm normally getting into these trades based on this analysis, and then I'm not in front of the computer that much at the moment, and I can actually see that I'm a little bit more profitable not being in front of the computer than I otherwise would if I was looking at the trades and getting emotionally invested in each one of the trades. And so this is food for thought for me, at least, and it will certainly affect my trading in the future. And so I'm just going to show you a couple of things that we have going on, what we're looking at. So this pair, this is the American dollar Swiss franc. We spoke about this because we had a couple of trades on. We also sent out an alert on daytrader.dk, and it was a buying opportunity, and that one went to the target, and I have a hunch that the American dollar is gonna pick up a little bit, especially relative to the Swiss franc, and this is because we're currently nestled in a weekly area of demand. So if we just go to the weekly chart and have a look, you can see what I'm talking about, where we had a very strong base that was established over the course of a couple of months. Price cut away, the slingshot was pulled back, and then we had a huge catapult up into the opposing side of the market. Okay, we also had something like this going on, where we had lower prices on the weekly, but we had a different story being told in the asset strength histogram, leading us to believe that we would eventually begin to move higher. And we're starting to be told about that here. Actually, the color is a bit difficult, so I'm just going to change the color. Where's the color? White. So you can see we had that here, and that little green dot, another one here, another one here, another one here, and this one is just here. This one is just here. And so we're being told, hey, price is probably going to turn around. Okay, and I'm not taking these trades. The ASR is, and it does so quite effectively. But when I'm trading with discretion, I wait for this to happen. And when that happens, then I know, okay, then we should be buying. And you could actually see that just here. When this candle, let me remove all of these. When this candle closed, well, then I knew that we should be buying at the low of it, which was just here, because this is a slingshot. So we had an area of supply, which looks something like that. It was removed, and the origin of the move that went to it was here, the low. And this is roughly where price came to and then left. Okay, so we're pointing to the beginning of a buy zone, and we could actually move that into the future. Oh, that wasn't a very good one, was it? Let me use a different tool. So if we mark the low off, we haven't quite reached that yet. but we're starting to paint some other candles that are telling us of a similar story. So we have a parent, we have the parent, child, child. Okay, and so this is the first child, and price is beginning to gnaw away at the liquidity available in that area, and the release point was the low of the candle that moved beyond this price agreement. So it goes from here. So this is where we would buy, and this is roughly where we started to buy previously. We're starting to print a lot of white candles, and so we don't know what's going to happen, but the probabilities are moved into the favor of the buyer because of what happened historically here. Okay, and so price was historically, well, we traded within this area and then we left, and so this is telling us that there's a likelihood that price is going to move away. So now we move down into the area, start to paint these candles, and so I'm expecting price to move away. And also because we had something here, tested once, removed, the origin of that move is right here where price tested last week. So we're expecting price to wriggle away. Okay, and so we're starting to have, we had a high, we had a higher high, we have a low, and looks like we're beginning to form that higher low. Okay, so we have a bullish bias for the American dollar Swiss franc. It doesn't mean that we have a bullish bias on the American dollar necessarily. It just means that the American dollar relative to the Swiss franc has a slight bullish bias, short to medium term. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So this is where we have our bias. So I have an idea that I want to be buying, and so we put an order in here, and that order was missed by a couple of pips, and I don't even know if we're going to get there, but you can see that, we got, almost to it, but we didn't quite reach it. So not yesterday, so what day is it today? It's Wednesday, so Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. So Friday of last week we tested the area of this box, but you can see it still has a solid border, which means that price did not move into it. So we're probably a couple of pips north of that area of demand, and it looks like we're probably going to continue moving higher. But what we could do is we could go to the smaller time frames and refine our entry and potentially move this entry a little higher. So if we do that, no, I'm not going to do that, because we have this here, which was tested. I'm just going to use this tool to draw. Boom. Change the color to white again. We tested it once, twice, and a bunch of other tests here, but we haven't managed to move through it. And so this one is still valid because it's holding price. And so until it's gone, I'll wait. Okay, because I'd be keen to buy down here, or I'd be keen to wait and just wait for price to reach our entry here. But if price manages to move above that, well, then I'd be keen to buy the area that removed this area of supply. So price, maybe if it does break away, it does something like that, and then we do something like that, and then we do something like that. But there's nothing to do just yet. I'm waiting for this to be taken out, and until that is done, this is my price. If it is removed, then I know that I'm going to have to pay a slightly worse price for this pair, because there was an agreement to consume liquidity at the opposing side of the market from this price point. So now I'll be looking to buy here, but until then there's nothing to do. Alright, so that's what we've got there. So let's look at the pound American dollar. Zooming out a little bit. We talked about this yesterday. We could see that we had this area here that was tested many times, and it was finally removed, and the area that removed it was here. And price didn't respect that very well, did it? It came through, we tested something here, we don't know what it is, but then price came up almost immediately. We started to gnaw away the liquidity available there, and then we moved north. Okay, and so now we want to wait to see what price is going to do. We've got something here. Oops, wrong tool. We've got something up here. It was tested a couple of times. So until this is removed, there's nothing to do. We have a nice area here, and this is the one that removed this. So we have, this could be a nice place that we could have a small short, but we also need to know where we are relative to the bigger picture. So if we go here, now you can see that we're pretty high. What does that mean? What does pretty high even mean? It means actually it means nothing. You can never say that something is too expensive or too cheap, because if price is really expensive but people are happy paying that price, well, then it's not too expensive because there are still buyers. At the point that buyers dry up is when it becomes too expensive, and then you have pullbacks. Then you start to begin to advertise cheaper prices so that we can begin to attract or pull buyers into the market. But for the time being, as long as price is moving higher, well, then people are continuing to get involved. Okay, so here we have a really nice area of demand, and I'm just going to wait patiently for price to come to that, because I just like the structure. And the reason I like this is because we had historical respect for this here. 1 test, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then price rallied, moved sideways, and then boom, boom. So this one here is now gone, and this one here is in place. So this is the one that we would trade, just following the rules. And it really slows things down, because when you're trading on these bigger time frames, I mean, you don't have to look at the charts all the time. You just have to just move through them, have a look at them, find things that are attractive, and be done with it. And that's pretty much the essence of it. And I really like that. It's a very relaxing way to trade. That's what we have there. If we have a look at, let's remove these, let's remove all of them, objects list, boom, and let's have a look at the euro, American dollar. Maybe I just called the pound the American dollar, but it's whatever. So if we look at this, where are we on the big scheme of things? Well, it looks like we're pretty high. Looks like we have a level marked off here, and that's because if we use this, we had this, which is not a great area because price has already been up to this area. This one's much nicer here, and this one was removed. Okay, and the area that removed that is actually below here, because when price came from here, what happened? It came back in. So we had to go actually a little bit deeper than that. You can see this one is here, this one is a little bit deeper. So actually we had to go to this area here. This is the one that caused price to move through this area here. Tested once, a little bit deeper twice, maybe we'll come and have another test 3 times. But this one here is untested and fresh, so I like that as well. That's kind of that is a pretty area. But due to the fact that we've seen reactions here and here, this could very well hold for another test in the future. So we'll have to wait, but the entry is down here for that one, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Just going to do the majors today because I can look in a reflection that my family are having lunch, so I'm going to nip it. Oh, this is a beautiful area here as well. We had huge test and then rejection, another attempt at the child, slingshot was pulled back, rallied, accumulated, and then we popped. So this is a nice area. Price has not been back here. This is the buy zone for this area of demand. So look at the American dollar, Japanese yen. Actually, we have to go on this chart, otherwise we're not going to get all of them. If we look at this on the daily, we go to the weekly. Hey, we're looking to rally north. So we do see a little bit of American dollar strength here across the board. And so what we want to do is we want to identify places where we could look to buy, because this is where we have our bias. And so currently we are reacting at this area of supply, which has been tested here. So you wouldn't want to sell for a price any cheaper than where this slingshot was pulled back to, which is up here. And that brings us to, looks like a 4-hour area if we were going to take a short. If we look at that, actually, Okay, it's really far down the road, isn't it? So let's do this. If I can find it here. This is where it is. Here. This is where we're going to have, actually, screw it, it's like difficult on these MT4 charts. We'll just focus on the buy, okay? In the buy, there's some really nice buying opportunities. We had this one here, we didn't get filled. Unfortunately, this is nice because we had supply, tested, torn to pieces by this one. Price came here, and we looked to go through that. But I would be keen to buy at this area here because we had incredible rejection away from that, and it has not yet been tested. So this is fresh and untested. Below that, we have this area, which removed something in here that was tested a couple of times, and we popped north. We really did an enormous amount of damage there. So I think that this one would be my first choice. Hold that for a little while, and then we can take this one down here if it doesn't work out. Good, 16 minutes. I'm not even going to do all of them. I'm just going to leave it at that. But if you have any questions, let me know. And otherwise, enjoy the day, and thanks for watching.